Hello and welcome back to the Casual Anime Podcast, otherwise known as CAP, where we're anything but that. I'm your host, Vince the Devil Rookie, and this is my co-host.
I'm Maxopack.
Alright, and today we have a very special episode, don't we, Maxopack? Well, every episode with us is special.
Yeah. And we're gonna be giving you the same good old news.
Absolutely.
But this time, having finished the Bleach tier list,
For now.
we might be worth ranking every arc and movie of Bleach so that you can find out which ones to see, and well, they're all worth seeing, but which ones you're gonna enjoy the most.
Oh, before we do that, should we give them some of our weekly anime news, though?
Yes, the news. So, what do we have on your end, Vince?
Well, as the One Piece aficionado here in the Anime Podcast, I'm proud to tell you that we officially have a release date for One Piece Film Red, and we were wrong last week. We were mostly going off of hearsay when we said that One Piece Film Red was going to be in October. However, we were officially confirmed that One Piece Film Red will be coming out in November 4th. So, it'll be a little bit late, but I'm still very excited to see it. What about you, Maxopack?
Oh, for sure. This will probably will be one of the best One Piece movies to date.
Oh, absolutely. I am so excited for it. And what do you have on your end, Maxopack, for some news?
All right. So, coming next week or soon is going to be Naruto's 20th anniversary.
Very nice.
Now, we're all fans of Naruto here. We both love the big three, and we really want to see Storm 5, but it could be any kind of news, maybe a movie even. But yeah, stay tuned. They'll probably live stream that in celebration. There's going to be a lot of 20th anniversary projects. And there are also speculation, if it's not Storm 5, that it could be a Bleach Storm game coming soon. Now, one sec. Oh my god, my mom just knocked on the door just to see if I ate.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. But yeah, Bleach is, there's news and rumors. Mostly, more so not rumors, because Bleach, or Shueisha at least, heavily advertises Bleach with merchandise and all sorts of stuff. Maybe not so much in like games, but back then they had many games like Bleach Heat the Soul. Soul Resurrection is the modern, is the only one we have right now, and it made it onto consoles. So try that if you want. It's pretty cool. But besides Bleach and Naruto, Dragon Ball is coming back with anime adaptation of the manga, catching up to what we know as the Moro arc, and then the Strongest in the Universe featuring Gas and those guys you've probably heard of, and possibly we might even see Black Frieza. Now, do you know of anything of Black Frieza, Vince?
I did hear about the news, yes, but I don't believe there's anything going on in the manga about that yet. I believe Dragon Ball has become monthly, so we won't get any news about what Black Frieza's form is yet.
It's very strong right now, but what a lot of people are hoping for, and might be a possibility, is if any of you have seen Dragon Ball Superhero, the movie, in the first few moments of the opening, there were recreated shots of the original anime in almost like a new remastered 2D art style. And many people went crazy about it because it looked really good. Now, many fans want this to be the new animation style for the upcoming Dragon Ball anime. And we might just get that. So obviously we're not like a dedicated news source. We're just casual fans making casual news. So yeah, just look forward to that sort of stuff. Naruto and Bleach and Dragon Ball is the news we have for today.
All right. Well then, if that's all the news that we have, then we can move straight into today's topic, which is going to be, let me just switch this over to our tier list. And can you see this, Maxopack? Let me share my screen with you real quick. There we go. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, perfect. So, we have every single arc within One Piece, as well as every single movie within One Piece.
Oh, I love One Piece.
Am I saying One Piece? My bad. I just want to talk about One Piece, but no.
Yeah.
This is
Orange Town, best arc in One Piece.
No. Okay, so we're talking about Bleach. This is Bleach Month. So this is every single arc within Bleach and every single movie within Bleach. Maxopack has obviously seen everything within Bleach because he is the Bleach aficionado. And
But everything we have here also Vince has seen, so
yes, I have luckily caught up to the entirety of the anime, except for Thousand Year Blood War. You can talk mostly about that. And,
yeah, we'll be
what was that?
we'll be very vague with that.
Yeah, okay, so avoid spoilers, but I have seen every single movie, so I can participate in most of the conversation. It's just a good thing we didn't talk about any of the fillers today.
Alright.
So,
yeah, I guess, well, we gotta get this right off the bat, but since Bleach is mid, every arc has to be mid, so put everything in D tier.
Here we go.
Alright, and we'll work off from there.
There we go.
Alright, yeah, destroy the waiting room.
Oh, you just want to destroy the waiting room? Okay.
Yeah, just destroy.
Let's see. Okay. So we're in con tier right now. Honestly, just ignore the arcs down here. A bunch of extra photos got added, and I couldn't delete them. But
Oh, okay.
everything in con tier is just what we're going to be ranking. But overall, I think Bleach really doesn't have any bad arcs, I would say. Every arc is pretty solid, so I don't think we would need a D tier in the slightest, because it would go from average just to great.
Unless you're too casual and you think Bleach is mid, then everything is D tier.
Who would think that Bleach is mid?
And then Soul Society would be the peak of Bleach, so that would be C tier, the only C tier. But we're just memeing. So let's see. Well, first off, I think we can just pick what we want to talk about, because see, a lot of people will go in order, but see, we're special and we're casual, so
That's
we're gonna talk about what comes to mind. But don't worry, we'll have timestamps, so it won't matter. You know,
That's
we
true,
jump
that's
all.
true.
So I say we if we want to talk about movie, let's keep it relevant. So let's just start off with the beginning of Bleach.
Okay.
That is a substitute Soul Reaper arc.
So we're going with the substitute Soul Reaper arc first.
We will also share stories and whatnot, because you know this kind of stuff, not like a character where we take an analysis. This is like, you know, something people we grow up with, and you know, we have differing memories on how we watched it. Like, so it's pretty varied perspective. Like Vince over here was able to catch like the entirety of Bleach just recently.
Yes.
I have like, you know, I probably saw like this one arc when I was a kid, then like fast forward a year, I saw like that, and so it's pretty interesting. But this is where we first get to know Ichigo, and this is the most slice of life we have for Bleach, as we're mostly stuck in Karakura Town, getting to know Rukia, who we don't even see her Soul Reaper form.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much the only Soul Reapers are like Ichigo and some bum town dudes that patrol. So yeah, how was your like reaction when you first like started seeing like the starting bits of Bleach?
So, I guess I'll start right from the very beginning. And that's because, in order to put this into context, I have to give you my perspective of Bleach before I started it. Bleach was always the anime that I kind of just felt nothing about. I was totally apathetic about. Yeah, I think that's the word.
Yeah, pathetic.
Total apathy. That's what I felt towards it. With the big three, I didn't hate on it like I originally did with One Piece, and I didn't think that I would never get into it like I did with Naruto. Back when I was like in middle school or something, I was the edgy teen. Bleach was always just the anime that I was like, I don't really know much about it. I don't think I know anything about it. And I think I only started it a couple months ago, maybe a year ago. And it just kind of happened out of the blue. It just caught my eye and I was like, I haven't watched Bleach. Maybe I'll end up enjoying it. And I started it. And I do have to admit, because it is a starting arc, Substitute Soul Reaper arc does suffer a little bit because it is a little bit slow to start. You start out just trying to get to know Ichigo, you try to get to know his friends, and you fight some pretty weak hollows, even just Grand Fisher. I think you fought like a spider hollow at one point, and it is slow. However, halfway through the arc or so, I started to really get into it because we started to get some better concepts, like Kon, who is a mod soul. I really started to like the idea of a mod soul. We got to see the legend, the myth, the man himself, Don Kanoji. His episode was cool just because Ichigo had to be under the guise of an actor to get in and kill a hollow. And I think in that same episode, we got to see how a hollow is formed, which was very cool. And I think the episode that really captured me the most was the episode where they introduced Oryu, and that was the Quincy episode, because understanding that there was more to this world than just hollows and soul reapers, I really started to get into it, and I was like, yeah, there's some good lore to this. This is actually some really good world building. And just understanding that there was history as well, with the Quincy's being wiped out by the Soul Reapers, and understanding that Quincy's have a mission to take out all the hollows, it really started to capture my interest. And I feel like with some animes, that just doesn't happen for me. It didn't happen with me for One Piece. It took many arcs for me to get into One Piece. It was a very rare case that I was able to get into Naruto on the first arc. Because it happened to me with Bleach, I think that puts it in a very high standing, because I can sometimes be very tricky to catch the attention of, but Bleach managed to capture my attention after that Quincy episode. So overall, I really like the Substitute Soul Reaper arc because I enjoy the more down-to-earth parts of Bleach, because after we're done with the super long arcs of fighting these Soul Reapers and going on life or death missions, I really enjoy understanding how Ichigo goes about his daily life after the fact, and how he harnesses his powers for daily life, and all that. Like, the Fullbring arc, I won't go too much into it because we will talk about that later. I really enjoyed the Fullbringer arc because it showed more of Ichigo's daily life and more of his family ties. And I ended up missing the Substitute Soul Reaper arc for the most part, because it's just some piece of it you can't replace. It's just a part of Bleach. It's really nice.
You said that perfectly. As someone who didn't get to grow up watching Bleach, just knowing that it serves such a good impression is really like telling of the two sides of how people view this big three anime. Like a lot of people will say that it's probably the hardest to catch on to, and it just kind of falls off. And then another people will see this sort of blend of mystery and wholesomeness. It's a lot of blends of different feelings all in one arc. And how I can most describe it is you're just in Kubo just places you in this small town, you know, something you can really relate to that's different in like a lot of animes. Like in Full Metal Alchemist, you're not in Amestris, you know, you don't know what this world is like. You don't know what alchemy is. You don't know what it's like to lose have your house burned down and have to become stay alchemist or something like that. You don't all you get is this clinging like homey feeling of being in a house and like your mom preparing your food and stuff, and but really it's a unique scenario. Same for Naruto. You're outcasted by the whole village, and you have some demon inside you, and people hate you because that demon destroyed the city a long time ago. Like it's hard to really relate to shonen protagonists, like more so than like people think, because they're so unique. That's what makes shonen protagonists some of the most interesting characters in anime. Why a lot of people love shonen is because they're just them, like their own specific character. They're nobody can be them, and nobody will ever be them. Like Gon, Edward Elric, Naruto, Luffy, Goku, you know, you can keep going. But Ichigo was one of the first I ever got to see that I was like, wow, he's in a house, like a regular house, going to school, you know, has this, you know, really like comedic father that they have this like little tussle every now here and there, and he gets hit, like they fight, and they're in, you know, his sisters are very like cute and wholesome. They have this like duality between the more tomboyish girl and the more girly girl, and it's like it's very normal stuff. Like not once are you being just put out of your comfort zone. Like it's something you can just immediately feel at home to. And it's not too crazy to think that like, oh, you know, this guy still loves his like dead wife, or, you know, this guy doesn't like people that disrespect graves, or, you know, disrespect like, you know, people that's passed on, and gets into fights with local gangs. Like, it's not too much of a stretch. So when Kubo finally gives you that little taste, that little small ounce of eeriness with the iconic sound everybody's heard, even if you're not a Bleach fan, like every anime has their iconic song, like Naruto, you know, what was it, Naruto's theme song, do you remember what it was?
Which one? The first one?
Yeah, the Raising Fighting Spirit, that's what it's called. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know that one. Actually, that first one, I think I skipped that one the whole time because I just really didn't like it.
Then it's either that or it's also let's see.
Yeah, Naruto had a very weak first OP. It was kind of bad.
It's not the openings, but
Oh, okay.
The crap. Well, I'm usually good with this, but my brain is farting right now. But yeah, every song has like a unique sort of theme or good songs. Bleach has a lot of them, and right off the bat, you get a taste of what this guy, his name is Shiro Sagaizu, and what he can make, and he makes this like really eerie, like unique sound, where you can listen to it. The song is called Precipice of Defeat, and it's the first Bleach song, and it plays for basically like the Hollow theme, and when Rukia first appears. Uh, yeah, like it just slowly creeps up on you. This girl in like this traditional robe, and like you're not immediately taken aback too, because you know they're in Japan, you know they like wear robes as like a traditional thing, but she's just like standing on a lamppost, right? Just being like ominous.
Yeah, with a butterfly flying past her.
Yeah, and she has a sword, and you're immediately thinking like, what the heck is going on, you know? Like I knew, and you always go in. A lot of people go into Bleach, you know, thinking it's like you're gonna see like monsters and like really creepy, dark stuff, and right there is like, you know, sets you right up for that. And so throughout that, Kubo's just giving you more and more of this, very ominous sort of show, and it gets completely flop-sided on its head at times. So instead of that wholesome, like, nice slice of life moments you got, then you're just thrust into this hollow action, which is very dramatic. Each one has their own story. Some of them are kind of ridiculous, like Spider Hollow and, you know, Rand Fisher and a bunch of them. But that's what they're supposed to be. Just regular creepy, like, hollows. And that's what hollows were originally just weird amalgamations of creatures. When you realize that they're like the soul of someone that couldn't move on, that, you know, filled with regret and stuff, you start to understand, yeah, they are decrepit. Like, look at Orihime's brother was one of the best. Like, what really got me interested in the world of like hollows was how Orihime, you know, when her brother was alive, the last thing she said to him was like she hated him, and he died with that. And he always, because they got into a fight, and he lived with that after he died as a hollow, and that's what brought him back full of spite and wanting to, you know, kill Orihime because she thought she hated him. And finally, when that was all cleared up, when they were able to like apologize to each other, it's like, wow, Soul Reapers are really cool. Like they fixed that sort of stuff like that. Like, it made me as a kid want to like aspire to be a Soul Reaper, and, you know, to be like Ichigo, because Ichigo was very relatable, and he didn't have any like outstanding traits of being like retarded or I want to be like the best. He's just a regular dude that had to, you know, defend people because that's his responsibility now. Like he was just thrust into it, and that's probably one of the most believable ways to get a responsible shonen protagonist. Now, someone's just thrust into responsibility, not just like, oh, I'm just gonna do it. You know, I'm just awesome. I'm strong. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, that's why, I particularly like characters like Edward Elric and Ichigo, because they just have gotten themselves into a position of power and like responsibility, and that set up for the whole Substitute Soul Reaper arc. He had great moments with, like you said, Uryu. Uryu was a great character introduced. And finally, Byakuya and Renji. Now, what was your reaction when you saw Soul Society actually interfering? Like, we heard about them the whole Substitute Soul Reaper arc. You know, this is what Soul Reapers do. This is what they're like. You know, Rukia's teaching Ichigo all she knows. And there's just so much, like, there's a lot said about Soul Society, but there's never anything shown. So what was your reaction when they finally came down. You know, just not just like some regular Soul Reapers, but like a lieutenant and a captain right then and there.
If I remember correctly, they had Ichigo, who could barely actually control his Shikai, beat Renji, who, granted, he was a lieutenant that had that seal on him. So he managed to beat Renji when he had a seal. But then even still, he got ridiculously decimated by Byakuya to the point where the series almost ended if it wasn't for the biggest genius of the series.
Yeah.
So that's pretty epic. Like, you hear about the Soul Society for so long, and then someone who's not even the strongest captain almost ends the series.
And Renji would have done it too if he wasn't messing around. It's just that, yes, you know, we sort of do get this hidden message that like Ichigo's very spiritually enhanced, and that, of course, as you know, is Kubo foreshadowing the latent potential in Ichigo via like the various races and his origin. So very nicely foreshadowed, because you know, with a lot of like another character like Naruto, you kind of just know he's gonna be butt strong, like with like his potential, because he has the nine tails. But Ichigo, you never know that in the beginning. Like you don't know that you just think he's just a regular dude. So when Ichigo just starts flexing like this insane spiritual pressure. Oh, and another thing too, it was really cool when they showed spiritual pressure back then. It was insanely cool. That was one of the most one of the greatest things that sat with me when I grew up, was just like the screen shaking, and I was watching on my little bum box TV and just sitting up close as like everything was shaking, and the music and this like whoosh of air. Like it was nothing I've ever seen. Like spiritual pressure. Just a insanely cool concept for a kid like me. And even to this day, spiritual pressure is like amazing anime power or power system. And just to see that really show the difference of power between people was also was very nicely done for kids and for adults. So let's see. So yeah, when he flexed that and just kind of like knocked back Renji. Now he didn't like beat him or anything. He got him down. I think Renji was about to go in, but then Byakuya was just like, "Oh no. Actually, yeah, he was about to beat him. Maybe. I won't say 100%, but if that sword had come down on Renji, he definitely would have been pretty hurt." And then, yes, that scene where Byakuya just like it happens so fast too. But for me, when I was watching it, obviously when you're a kid, time is very slow. The time feels a lot slower. So that scene felt like I really took in everything in that moment. Having watched like, you know, every weekday of seeing Ichigo progress and seeing him get stronger, and then all of a sudden his sword just breaks. He looks around. What happened? You know, it's all happening so fast. And then you see Byakuya, and they don't even show it right away. He looks down, and you see his sword in his hand, that huge ass sword. He drops it, and in a single motion, he's not even moving, which is the flash step. Again, another cool ability. You're just getting cool abilities left and right. You know, flash step right past Ichigo, and boom, he's just done. Like, all that we watched, and he just gets decimated. Like, that's the end of Bleach. And then, of course, you have this, he's still going, which is also pretty cool. And that's also a more tie-in to, like, White having, or Hollow Ichigo having to do something. But yeah, and then you get this emotional scenes with like Rukia. You know, Rukia also another great character to look for because she herself is what got Ichigo into this whole world of Soul Society and got him to understand like the importance of like fighting for people, of mending souls, the importance of the world, like really introducing Ichigo to the world where a lot of it's hard to find in other shows. Everyone's just kind of already lived. Like that's the thing about Bleach. Everybody's already lived in these other anime worlds. They're used to it. They know what they have to do. They like have a goal. Ichigo's you really get to build yourself and understand with Ichigo why Soul Society and why what Soul Reapers do is important and why Hollows have to, you know, be eliminated. And even then, and then your philosophy is clash too with another one of my favorites, Uryu, who is a Quincy, who has a whole different way and like echelon and lineage of dealing with Hollows. And you just see this amazing like team combination of all of them just trying to help out like a simple dude like Ichigo. And probably what will make this arc really, really high up is the fact that it introduces one of the best characters Bleach has ever made, one of the most iconic, well-loved shopkeepers in anime history. What is his name? Vince D. Rookie?
Urahara yep. Kisuke.
Yes, the humble shopkeeper, the clog-wearing hat man.
I gotta get his hat for real.
Oh yeah. One of the most iconic outfits in anime. And this guy, like, the fact that he's in the Substitute Soul Reaper arc just makes it, like, so much better. Because we're already, like, craving for more knowledge. Like, we want to know what happens. Ichigo's at, like, this is, like, one of the worst states for a shonen protagonist. Like, have you ever seen any other character get as screwed up as Ichigo, like, pretty much lose everything at that one point?
Sorry, what was that last part?
Have you ever seen anyone, like, any other shonen protagonist, like, lose that hard like Ichigo?
I would say no, honestly. In the whole Substitute Soul Reaper arc, yeah, no, he almost literally gets the whole story closed out on him in that arc.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty insane to watch. Growing up especially. You got such a connection with Ichigo and Rukia. And then for me, personally, when I would come home, like, that was just something I really, I thought about, like, after going to school and stuff, like, oh, what is Ichigo and Rukia gonna do next? What's their next adventure? Like, it felt like a great adventure for me. So that was, like, a turning point for the entirety of Bleach. And then Mr. Hat-Wearing Man comes in, teaches us some of the coolest things, like, gives us a little bit about holification, keto, Zanpakuto toes. Now, the concept of Zanpakuto, would you agree that the Zanpakuto are one of the coolest abilities in anime history?
Absolutely, because Zanpakuto are exactly, they reflect your soul. So not only are you getting a power system, but you're learning more about the character as you see them go into action. So you're getting the best of both worlds, character development and power development. I think that is solely why it is some of the most exciting power systems that we have.
And we all got introduced that into the Substitute Soul Reaper arc. So this part is really jam-packed, but I will admit, it is long. Like, you could bang out two regular animes, all in like the span of the Substitute Soul Reaper arc. That's two whole stories you're getting. But if you stick with it, you're pretty much getting a world full of not just a world, but like a concept, you know? Like, yeah, a lot of shows have bigger worlds. Like they like we're in Karakura Town, but that's a testament to how Kubo thought of like the powers and the lore, put so much rich lore into such a compact space. And at that point we never even traveled to Soul Society. That's the next arc. So really it's a test of creativity. It's how strong is your imagination. And that's why I like loved Bleach growing up. It was one of my favorite things, probably maybe my favorite, even more than Naruto, and Dragon Ball, because it really tested and grew my imagination to insane levels, absolutely insane levels. So that is probably why some people don't make it through Bleach. It's because they just want to see like the cool sword fights and the action right away. You know, they see the clips on YouTube and it's like, oh, look at this guy shooting laser beams and, you know, big swords. Like, they want to see that, and they get sorely disappointed when they see, you know, Ichigo and Rukia running around with Don Kanoji, you know, taking out like building size hollows and stuff. And yeah, like, so on that note,
yeah, what would you rank the the Substitute Soul Reaper arc? Because personally, I want to put it like right up in A.
I was just it really, like, it brings me to another time in Bleach where I really it's almost, it makes you feel nostalgic, even though, like, even if you haven't grew up with it. Do you also feel that?
Yeah, definitely, because it's just one of those feelings that you get. You're enjoying the Hueco Mundo arc, or you're in the middle of the fake Karakura Town arc, and you're loving the hell out of the fights, but you're just thinking, man, I wonder what Ichigo's going to do after this. It's just a passing thought, and you remember the Substitute Soul Reaper arc, and you remember he's going to have to go to school after all of this. He's fighting world-ending threats, and he's still going to have to go to school. He still has to figure out what he has to do with the rest of his life. He's got relationships to fix, relationships to mend. He's got a whole family he has to take care of. And it does make you feel a little bit nostalgic for it. Like, yeah. After all this, we still would like to see how he's going to treat the rest of his life.
And anytime you think about it, like, it's a completely different world. Just like the animation, the opening. Like, do you ever get nostalgic when you hear opening 1?
Oh, yeah,
Bleach?
Definitely.
Yeah, like it brings you back to, it literally forces you back to when you were in your school days and you were still thinking about the world. Because that's, to me, that was how much thought I put into it. Like, what I was going to do in the future, or with all this time. And Ichigo's adventure, you know, just makes you really think. So, a really unique part of Bleach that Volbring got close to replicating, but it's really, like, stands on its own as one of the most important arcs for Bleach. Like, it's pretty much, because 90% like percent of Bleach haters make it only through the Substitute Soul Reaper arc and the Soul Society arc. So it's a pretty, like, big gatekeep, you know, people wanting to get into the show. So if you're watching, definitely, like that's all you have to do is just, like, if there's something you don't like, just stick with it. There's so much more Bleach has to offer. They give you, like, literally 20 things you could like. Know that, like, those that one or two things you like is going to show up and be really expounded upon. So, and for people that don't like the campy feeling or the, you know, too, like, homey vibe that Substitute Soul Reaper arc gives you, then it's not gonna last like literally at all. It happens in that one arc, and then Ichigo becomes like a demon slaying monster. He becomes absolutely metal. So, yeah. A tier is fair. It only is below S because obviously it's missing like the hype parts of Bleach. Like it's you don't really. It's not Bleach isn't really known for its Substitute Soul Reaper arc. Is what I mean.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's pretty fair. But what it is known for is the next arc, which is the Soul Society arc.
Oh boy. So
I'm sure there's a lot we can say about this arc, that's for sure.
yeah, man. Like if the Substitute Soul Reaper arc, like that whole arc before was just for hyping up the Soul Society arc, and this is where this is the giant ocean between.
Real quick, I'm going to stop the recording just so that we don't get anything cut off, and then I'll
Oh, yeah.
restart it. Recording's restarted. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So believe if I'm not wrong, a lot of like the best moments, maybe not the best, but like a lot of iconic moments happen in Soul Society. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of the most groundbreaking stuff happens in Soul Society.
You're literally spoon-fed like tons of characters, tons of like we already said Zanpakutos were a cool thing. Imagine seeing like 20 Zanpakutos like back to back. People are whipping it out left and right. People are showing Keto, all sorts of abilities. This is like they're all going like against unsurmountable odds. And Ichigo's best line, one of Ichigo's best line, he's talking to Renji after he beats him, or after he's like fighting him. Renji's like, okay, even if you beat me, there are like 16 lieutenants and 10 captains, all which are stronger than me. Are you really gonna go and do that just for someone you barely met for a month? And Ichigo's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's honestly a really good moment. I think
Yeah,
one of my favorite moments is obviously going to have to be the Kenpachi moment when we get to see Kenpachi for the first time fighting Ichigo, and that fight is just immaculate. It's crazy.
that was time seeing Kenpachi. What was your reaction to that?
The first time that we saw him was actually when they blast their way into the Soul Society.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had only heard that Kenpachi was a menace, but when in my mind, not knowing a thing about Bleach, I thought maybe he'd be like endgame Soul Society kind of stuff. Like, oh, he's a menace, so he's gonna show up at the end and he's gonna screw up the plan. But no, he was the first captain that spotted them, and he's immediately chasing Ichigo. That is crazy. And we have him chasing Ichigo for the first part of the arc. We have him catching up to Ichigo, scaring him so badly that he doesn't even know what to think. He causes Ichigo to learn the name of his Zanpakuto just to avoid dying. Gets into a fight with him of maximum potential, and even still, he goes so easy on Ichigo that Ichigo can make him pass out from blood loss when he only takes off his eye patch. He doesn't even like try super hard with Kendo, which we learn later he can do, any of that. He just lets Ichigo win because Ichigo was fun to fight against. That is insane.
Yeah, like what a character to see in like in the start of Bleach. Just and this someone like Kenpachi was a relatively new concept because a lot of writers they don't try to make characters or villains that are so like eager to fight people because obviously you think bare bones, that's a very stupid thing, it's just too simple. Like you got to have a goal, but Kenpachi owns it to 100%, just being the most like radical like flex of power you can find. Like Kenpachi was one of the first Chads in shonen. With his eye patch, he wears an eye patch that restricts his power so he can fight longer. He wears bells on his hair so people can know he's coming.
Yup, I love that bit.
Yeah. He doesn't know this. He doesn't even bother knowing the the name of his sword, even though he's a Soul Reaper. And he even got captain by beating and he got captain by skipping all the rules. You gotta have a Bankai to be a captain and also be referred. Or you can just beat one, and that's what he did. Like, the more you know about this guy, and this is just one captain, and also he has this, this bloodlusted man also has, a really funny companion, just like a little girl that just, makes fun of people, and it gives him directions, too. It makes you, just think what in the world is Soul Society? It makes you feel like a completely different place, especially with how it looks too. Soul Society is one of the best looking places I've seen. Just like the traditional and also sort of modern take on Japanese houses and the feudal era, and also the huge ass mountain in the middle and the Seirete. Very cool stuff. And they're all they're running through buildings, these weird mock buildings. It's such it almost makes you feel like you're in a dream when you're in Soul Society at that arc. Let alone feeling the spiritual pressure during that fight. Remember when Kenpachi's spiritual pressure was so high, it felt like Ichigo was being attacked even though he was doing nothing?
Oh, yes. I absolutely love that because he had such bloodlust that Ichigo thought he was about to die.
Yeah, that was such a cool thing in the old arc. Well, you could feel someone's spiritual pressure and its intent. It's almost, yeah, but that's just the stuff we had to say about Kenpachi, but let's
what else do we got? What's that?
Here's a really cool contrast. Now, Kenpachi was a cool character that we saw. Here's someone that was completely different and didn't want to fight at all, just wanted to make them leave. Shunsui. Wait a second. What the frick is his? Oh yeah, Kyoraku Shunsui. This guy. This was a sight because he, you just got off Ichigo, fighting for his life versus Kenpachi. Now we have Chad's perspective, and he's trying to catch up. He's trying to fight for Ichigo, and this guy, this captain who's wearing a kimono over his captain garbs, and he even has this
like a straw hat.
Yeah, he has a very unique look, and he's just kind of oh, how you doing? Welcome to Soul Society. You're gonna have to leave. And Chad, obviously is not gonna leave. He's gonna fight him. And Shunsui, doesn't even pull out his swords, and he just, pushes him back. He does that cool, press of the finger, and Chad just goes flying for, 3 minutes. And he completely contrasts to Kenpachi's personality. And you almost feel wow, this guy's a chill dude. And even after he draws his sword, is I'm gonna have to take you down, I guess. He still feels chill, He doesn't kill Chad. He just sort of one-shots him, and that is the end. And, we see him later, and he's actually a good guy. Him and Ukitake serve as the first helpers on the first captain defectors on Ichigo's team. I think even after Byakuya didn't fully commit to Ichigo's cause until the end where he took the stab from Gin.
I believe so, because he was on Ichigo's side after their fight.
Yeah. So like so many cool moments. You have the whole saving Rukia, and it doesn't even end there because the captains are. This is phenomenal because you don't even realize it while they're trying to save Rukia. You're all like focused on, okay, we're just gonna save Rukia. We're just gonna save Rukia. We take out this captain to save Rukia. While that's happening, Kubo is making a whole new plot line, a whole nother plot line of Aizen's betrayal. Like, what was your thoughts when you realized like something was amok that didn't have to do with Rukia?
Honestly, I was pretty dumbfounded because I had known that Aizen was the enemy. Obviously, you can't just not know that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was still invested because I was getting all kinds of different things within the story that I had no idea about, like Gin being a creep and Toshiro wanting to investigate him, but not only investigate him, he mostly wanted to kill Gin because he had these assumptions. And you're just wondering, why is Gin being such a creep if he's probably not the bad guy because Aizen's the bad guy? So you're still invested. And as you're going down the line, then you learn Gin is involved. He's Aizen's lackey. And not just that, out of nowhere, Tosen's the lackey as well. And it keeps sideswiping you over and over and over. Hits you with plot twist after plot twist.
Yeah, like, oh my god, my brain was exploding when I was just it like if Substitute Soul Reaper arc was adventure, I was on a roller coaster of like moments because there's so many cool fights. Ichigo versus Byakuya, Ichigo versus Kenpachi, Ichigo versus like they made the lieutenants look cool as hell. Remember in Renji's and Ikaku's fight?
Oh yeah.
Like
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened during that, but I can remember Ikaku's fight with Ichigo, and that alone was crazy.
yeah, like just like and to put it in perspective too, when at that point you're Ichigo and you're struggling against a lieutenant. This guy has to go through 10 captains or 13 captains. Like, what can he do? And so it's just like it's just a whole, it feels like, it honestly felt like a whole anime in Soul Society arc. Do you think?
That's very true, because the amount of power progression alone that we got in that arc, the amount of training that Ichigo had to undergo, because I think I remember he tries to take on Byakuya again after he had taken down a bunch of lieutenants because he thinks maybe he can get lucky, and Byakuya still trashes him.
Yeah, Yoruichi doesn't even think he's ready for Shikai. Like on that bridge when they're about to like save Rukia, Ichigo, lands on it and and Byakuya is like walking down, and they clash for a bit, and Byakuya is about to release his Zanpakuto, and then Yoruichi comes out of nowhere, binds it, and knocks Ichigo out. Like, there is still so much power progression to go for, and that was like probably halfway through the arc. Like, it felt like multiple arcs in Soul Society, all from like in so many different perspectives too. We still had that slice of life with like Uryu and Ichigo in the Shiba estate with like Ganju and like those guys, and going through like the Rukon district and exploring all of Soul Society until they got to Sogyoku Hill, which everything went down. Sogyoku Hill though was the turning point of Bleach. When Bleach turned into Bleach, at that moment, after that they had like fought Yamamoto, they had taken free Rukia. Aizen comes in and completely changes this whole show.
Oh yeah.
with everything. We got so far. We got Ichigo having his badass fight with Byakuya, but just to just to like talk about like how this is one of this is one of the best moments, like top three in oh yeah, we should probably do top three moments in the arc to give them like a perspective of how like good it is. Um, but would you say Kenpachi versus Ichigo is one of them?
Definitely. It could probably be number three, but it's definitely top
Yeah.
three.
Number two, definitely Byakuya versus Ichigo.
Yes, 100%.
How did you feel? What was your reaction during that fight after he, attained Shikai and Bankai and everything, and they finally settled down the last time?
I was during the fight. I was freaking out, and when the fight was ending, honestly, like I was wondering how I could possibly feel bad for Byakuya because he seemed like a douche the whole time. And then I started to really respect him when I learned of his full story and that he truly didn't agree with Rukia's execution either, but he had to go along with it because it was part of the Soul Society's traditions. I was like, man, I actually do feel kind of bad for him. I'm surprised that they were able to make me feel this way.
Hmm.
And
And
honestly, for number one, I kind of really want to say that I wanted to put Yamamoto versus Shunsui and Ukitake in there because that point in the arc is so good. It's just crazy because you're starting to understand just how powerful Yamamoto is, which in the perspective of that arc, it's nowhere close. But understanding that Yamamoto could destroy two captains that we had previously thought were insurmountable just shows that if he gets out of this fight right now, it's all over. Like, he's gonna shut the whole thing down. Ichigo's dead. Rukia's dead. Orihime, Chad, Oryu, they're all dead. Like, the
yeah,
story's ending right here. It really feels like every moment could be a series-ending threat. But I don't think I can give it number one because the number one spot would have to go to a different moment. And what do you think that is, Maxopack?
so I think I might know, but just to add in my opinion on Yamamoto versus
Oh yeah, yeah.
the they they couldn't have picked up two better captains to like they were probably the most wholesome and like likable captains at that point. Just like yeah, like when you see Ukitake, I remember Ukitake on the bridge with Byakuya, and he's like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Releasing your Shikai against like a Ryoka, man? Don't you wanna? Don't you think you should chill out a bit?" And like he's just kind of uh he's just like mediating things and just very kind, and to see them, those two being like the duo in their dual Zanpakutos, we get to learn and the insane spiritual, like what insanely high spiritual pressure can do to just a regular person. Like the now, what happened to her was insane, especially in the manga too. Like that was that that needs to be seen. Put in perspective Yamamoto's power. And just the fact that they only had to stall him, and it was still so difficult and so much at stake. Uh, like a great pinnacle of power, showcase. But still, an honorable mention. Now, this is why this is probably what started Bleach become my go-to, my love of my life, the something that kept me waiting for 10 years. I waited, I think I waited like 10 years or something for it to come back.
What,
But
for 1,000 Year Blood War?
yeah,
Yeah.
uh and this is why Bleach is a big three by far. is when it totally turns into a whole different anime, starting with Aizen's Ascension.
Oh, yes.
Now, we had just gone from Ichigo having the fight of his life with Byakuya, so far to the point where his hollow inside that was restricted had to come out in that insane fight, Hollow Ichigo versus Byakuya, and like the Black Getsuga in the voice, man. Like one of my favorite scene, like top 5 favorite moments in Bleach, actually top 5. So it was in Soul Society, and it's when Byakuya asks, who, after he gets hit by the Black Getsuga, he's like, what are you? And White just goes, I am no one at all, and just like slashes him away.
Yep, that's definitely a top 5 moment. That was so crazy when I first saw it. I was
he's like,
losing my mind.
like, oh my god, the voice act and just him, the animation, the freaking like him twirling around in like the animation and hopping all over the place and doing like completely like insanely intelligent moves with Ichigo, like hitting him back with one Getsuga and then coming from behind. Like, what a fighter! That it could introducing one of my favorite characters right off the bat. But that's still not number 1 because Ichigo goes off from that. Ichigo goes from that, saving Rukia. Everything's great, all fine, pretty much perfect ending. And then they see Aizen. They see some whack-ass dude with glasses, his hair all up in his face. He has this smug, crap-eating grin, standing in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, oh, this guy's standing in our way, huh? Let's do this, bro. Let's save Rukia and get out of here. Finally, this is the end. And the theme, number 1 pops up, and it's like, oh yeah, he's getting his ass handled. He's getting screwed harder than anything we've ever seen. Ichigo and Renji both hyped up to the max after fulfilling their mission. All the captains are on their side. Yamamoto's gone. They go in with that theme, running like 5 miles across Sogyoku Hill towards this man. He's just standing there. It's like, oh, he's making fun of them. Like, okay. And Renji's like, okay, I have one last thing I can help you with. My final ace in the hole, and this can only be done if my Zanpakuto is destroyed. You got this. This opening is yours. And he shoves down his sword in the ground and goes, Higa Sekko! And all the swords just start flying up in the air. And they're, the speed lines, each goes running like Mach 5 across the whole battlefield. And all the swords are plummeting into Aizen, and finally the music's ramping up, and then ching! And your whole world just stops while watching that scene. Man's got a finger on Ichigo's jet black Bankai that he spent 2 seasons trying to learn. Just got off of just fought 2 or 3 captains, and pop, Ichigo gets turned to Soul Reaper pace, and he's just sitting down there, and before Renji can even register what happened, boom! Aizen just freaking dashes right past him, and then he explodes, and then sandbags hard on the ground, and that is the end of our 2 protagonists in what is probably 2 minutes at most. And that's only the start of Aizen's ascension.
Oh, yes.
How Kubo could not have hyped up a better villain.
Definitely not. Just tell me, what anime character has ever had a villain that has stopped his own theme song? And with a finger, no less.
Yeah, like Mihawk had to use a tiny knife for Zoro. This man This man went even farther down and used a finger for Ichigo. And he pressed on the sword and Ichigo exploded. Bankai Ichigo as well. Like, I've never, you'll never see anything like that again. Like, you just won't. Against a main character? Like, main characters nowadays, they're brought up to be, like, invincible. They have to win against the highest odds. But Kubo literally dicked on Ichigo just to give us this amazing Aizen scene and Aizen, like, build-up. And then finally, and of course, that's just the beginning. They go past Ichigo, they go to Rukia, and, like, wait, Rukia? What does Rukia have to do with... Oh my god! What is he pulling out of her chest? And that right there is the start of one of the most legendary items in fiction. And what
Absolutely.
would that be?
That's the Hogyoku.
The Hogyoku. And that in itself has a whole nother backstory. But we're just gonna say that it's epic and it is, like, it is OP. It is insane. And it's just this little purple spear that Aizen needs to enact his plan. And so he takes that out. Rukia is done in. So he just dropped 3 main characters. Ichigo, Renji, and Rukia. Now, after this, well, there's no more use for Rukia. So, okay, Gin. Killer. And Gin, goes in to Shinso the crap out of her, and then boom, Byakuya shows up, and it's like, oh, such a good moment. Brother saving, him finally, him really symbolizing that he's a changed, like, man. That's also a great scene. And before you know it, every character and every, like, major character in Soul Society shows up right there on that hill to stop them. Like, Gin's being, held up by, like, Rangiku, Tosen with Komamura, and then you see and then Aizen's still standing there, and you just see out of nowhere, Yoruichi and Soifon have their blades up to his neck. And finally Yamamoto and Shunsui and everyone, they all go in to see Aizen for what he is. All that, like, to think that this man used a whole character arc as a disguise for his own plan.
Very true.
Yeah, and finally to end it all, like, now this is my 4th, maybe my 4th, or I'm gonna have to go top 10, but right now it's just 4th. The light cracking through and completely, just like instantly, shooting down onto them from Hueco Mundo. And as they ascend, all of them just getting knocked off, as they ascend, actually, I think one of them actually said, I don't know who, says, "Get away from them," before the light shines down. And as they ascend, they all have, like, very cool lines, like Gin, apologizes to Rangiku. Tosen has this cool back and forth against Koromura. It's like, why did you abandon your justice? Is this what justice really is, Tosen? And he gives a very vague answer. But my all-time favorite, which reaches top 4, is crap. Oh my god, my mind is stumbling right now, but I need to get it. Not I'll try to say it. But crap. Yeah, I'll try to say it. I think I remember it good enough. But he's rising up and Ukitake says, Aizen, is this what you really are? Or something like that. And Aizen's like, neither you or, frick. Oh my god, give me a second. I'm getting the manga. But yeah, while I'm getting this, what is your reaction during that part of Aizen's ascension?
During that part of Aizen's ascension, well, I am most certainly. My jaw is on the floor, that's for sure, because I had no idea about the Hogyoku. I had no idea about um, Gin and Tosin being along with him. I, for the most part, I actually knew almost nothing about Bleach in the first place, so everything was pretty much fresh for me. And I would say that as a first time viewer, it was something absolutely revolutionary for me to see the a character that I knew almost nothing about suddenly becoming the big bad and being so overpowered and so just so impactful in the story that they shook an entire arc. It's just something that's never happened before. It's crazy. Bleach really outdid themselves with that.
Oh, oh, for sure. The and let's see. Uh, what what did uh what did you think of Aizen through the arc?
What did I think of Aizen through the arc? Um, Through the arc, I don't think I had many opinions on him, honestly. It was just that he was just the background character for the most part. And then when he suddenly stepped into the spotlight, it felt like you had missed so much, which was exactly what he wanted for all the rest of the characters as well. It feels like if you went back and watched it again, you would probably only recognize many parts of his plan, but you wouldn't even recognize most of it because he planned that thing so intricately that we were right alongside the captains in being fooled.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, it is taking forever for me to load this quote. So where would you rank finally because it's not gonna change the ranking. Oh, okay. There we go. Finally. Yes. So I got it in I might share my screen too.
You want me to stop
Yeah.
sharing my screen?
Yeah, read you can keep sharing.
Okay.
You can read along with me. Cool. So,
Here, let me switch the OBS screen real quick, and I'll just. There we go.
I'm join on my iPad real quick.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me just so that. And oh wait, can you see my screen?
Yes. Or no, not at the moment.
How about now?
No, still can't see it.
Yep, I have my screen up.
I don't see it.
No?
No. Maybe, yeah, I'll end my shared stream so for a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Do you see my screen?
No. It's not sharing it.
Okay, give me a second. Gonna go. All right, I'm gonna share it one more time. Oh, whoops.
Okay, there we go.
That's not that's not it. Okay. How about now? You see that?
I see your front-facing screen. Is my Discord bugging out?
No. This should be it. I have Yeah, I have my screen sharing right now. Do you see anything if you tap on my profile?
No, I don't see anything.
Dang, really? That's weird. Because I'm on Footage Man too, and I see that it's sharing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's all about.
Okay, so I'll just read it off then.
Okay.
So, what sounds better, my iPad or my phone?
Probably your phone.
Okay, so switch. Okay. So Komamura goes, "Where has your sense of justice gone?" And Tosen's like, "I told you, Komamura. I follow the path least soaked in blood. Justice is there always. The path I walk is justice." And later learn that, like, he means that uh he won't have to do as much like violence on Aizen's team to get his to get what he wants. And he has like he has a very deep backstory on its own right, with his friend getting unjustly killed. And funny thing, they actually expand upon that in the novels. Do you know Can't Fear Your Own World? Hello?
Are you saying something about Can't Fear Your Own World?
Yeah, there's actually, it actually goes into, Tosen's story and who actually caused his, friend to die in Soul Society. Do you know
I think I saw some stuff about that actually. I didn't read it myself, but I saw some videos on it.
Yeah, do you know a man by the name Tokunada?
I believe so.
Yes, we'll have a very interesting talk about that, because Tokunada was one person who challenged Shunsui's seat as the head captain.
I think I remember that, yeah. And didn't that same captain kill Tosen's basically his love interest?
I'm not sure. I think it was just his friend, but I don't know if it was him that killed her. I think he might have had something to do with it, though.
Alright.
But yeah, now finally, one of my favorite moments in Bleach, as Aizen's descending upon the pillars, Ukitake's looking up, and he asks why. And Aizen's just like, to seek greater heights. And Ukitake says, "Have you fallen, Aizen?" He goes, "Don't kid yourself, Ukitake. No one ever stood atop the heavens before, not you or I or the gods, but the unbearable vacancy of heaven's throne ends here." And as he takes off his glasses, slicks back his hair, his glasses just shatter like glass, like a nod to his Zompop toe. "From now on, I will stand at the top." And it just is this beautifully drawn crap. Yeah, let me send that in the chat. Here you go. You see that?
Oh, yes. I will stand at the top. That's
Yeah,
very nice.
Obviously, he says that a lot, like 10,000 times more cooler than I does. Aizen's voice actor is amazing, and yeah, it gave me chills when he says that himself. But yeah, great moment. Soul Society S tier.
Absolutely. That's exactly where I would put it.
Without a doubt.
Alright.
Could you share your screen again?
Yes. Let's see. Oops, hold on a sec.
Alright, so now that I got the manga up, I can just fish for stuff as well. All right. Oh, I almost saw your Yami fanfic.
No Yami fanfics here, that's for damn sure.
So this is pretty nice. Seeing like substitute Soul Reaper arc get like A and then it just nicely goes up to S. Very
Perhaps we should stop the recording here, though, right after the Substitute Soul Reaper arc and the Soul Society arc, because we can cover the other ones a little bit quicker next time. And we have gone on for about 2 hours now.
God, just those two arcs?
Yeah, just those two arcs. We went on for like 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we will have to cut the content there.
All right. I mean, that's pretty insane. Just for those